Life is full of unpredictable challenges, and often these challenges can feel overwhelming, much like a fierce storm. A storm in life represents any hardship, struggle, or period of uncertainty. These can be emotional, physical, or spiritual difficulties, illness, loss, financial problems, relational struggles, or even internal battles with fear and doubt. Just as a storm in nature arrives unexpectedly, these personal storms can hit without warning, shaking our world and leaving us feeling vulnerable. The first things to understand about the storms of life is that they are inevitable. No one is exempt from experiencing trials or hardship. In the Bible, Jesus tells us, "In this world you will have trouble," John 16:33. But he follows it with a message of hope, saying, "But take heart, I have overcome the world." This reminder shows us that storms are not only a part of the human experience, but they also serve a greater purpose, and they are not random or without reason. Storms, though difficult, are often opportunities for growth and transformation. When we face challenges, they test our faith, push us out of our comfort zones, and force us to rely on something greater than ourselves. It is in the storm that we learn resilience, patience, and trust in God. These moments of struggle can refine us and shape our character, making us stronger in the long run. Storms are a part of life, and that they are not permanent helps us prepare mentally and spiritually. We cannot avoid every storm, but we can choose how we respond to them. By acknowledging that difficulties are a part of the journey, we can better navigate them with faith, hope, and the confidence that we are not facing them alone. When we find ourselves in the midst of life's storms, it can feel as though we're alone, overwhelmed, and abandoned. Yet one of the most comforting truths in our faith is that God's presence is constant, even in our darkest moments. No matter how fierce the storm may be, God is always near, offering his support, comfort, and strength. The Bible reassures us of God's presence with verses such as Psalm 46:1, which says, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble." This means that no matter the circumstance, God is not distant. He is actively with us, providing shelter, guidance, and peace in times of distress. We are never truly alone, even when our feelings might suggest otherwise. One of the clearest demonstrations of God's presence in a storm is the story of Jesus calming the storm in Mark 4:35-41. His disciples were terrified as a fierce storm hit the boat they were in, but Jesus was right there with them. He rebuked the wind and waves, and the storm immediately calmed. More importantly, he asked them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" This teaches us that God's presence in our storms isn't just about physical protection, but about cultivating trust and faith in his ability to calm the chaos. When we face life's trials, we are called to remember that God's presence isn't just in the peaceful moments, but especially in the storms. Trusting in God means knowing he is with us every step of the way, guiding us through difficulties and using those moments to strengthen our faith. His presence in the storm gives us the peace we need to endure and the assurance that he will see us through to the other side. God's character is his power over everything, including the storms of life. Whether these storms are literal or metaphorical, God's power is infinite, and he is fully capable of controlling and transforming every circumstance we face. This truth can bring immense comfort, especially when we find ourselves in overwhelming situations, unsure of how to move forward. In the Bible, one of the most vivid displays of God's power over nature is found in the story of Jesus calming the storm. In Mark 4:35-41, Jesus and his disciples were in a boat when a violent storm suddenly arose. The disciples, fearing for their lives, woke Jesus, who was asleep in the boat. With just a few words, "Quiet, be still," Jesus commanded the storm to cease. And immediately the wind died down and the waves became calm. The disciples were in awe, asking, "Who is this?" Even the wind and the waves obeyed him. This story illustrates not just God's power over physical storms, but his sovereignty over every aspect of life. Whether it's a storm of loss, fear, illness, or uncertainty, God has the power to change or calm any situation. His control is not limited to just the physical world, but extends to our hearts, minds, and every situation we encounter. God's power over the storm means that we are never at the mercy of circumstances. Even when it seems like the world is spinning out of control, God is still sovereign, and nothing happens outside his knowledge or will. Trusting in God's power allows us to have peace in the midst of turmoil, knowing that he has the ability to bring calm and resolution to even the most chaotic and difficult situations. While facing storms in life is never easy, one of the most powerful aspects of these challenges is the opportunity they provide for personal growth and spiritual development. Storms, though uncomfortable and often painful, can teach us invaluable lessons that shape our character and deepen our faith in ways that calm and peaceful times cannot. Storms push us to a place where we must rely on God in a way that we might not during times of tranquility. In James 1:2, the Bible encourages us to consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. This passage reminds us that difficulties are not meant to defeat us, but to refine and strengthen us. Just as a diamond forms under pressure, our faith and resilience are often forged through the storms we encounter. In the midst of adversity, we are forced to confront our weaknesses and limitations, leading us to lean more fully on God for strength, wisdom, and peace. As we face challenges, we learn patience, endurance, and trust. These experiences deepen our understanding of God's love and power as we witness firsthand how he sustains us through hardship. Storms can teach us empathy and compassion for others. When we endure struggles, we become more sensitive to the pain of others and more willing to offer support and encouragement. Our storms equip us to minister to those who are going through similar difficulties, allowing us to share the comfort we have received from God. Storms are not just obstacles, but opportunities for transformation. As we grow through life's challenges, we become more mature in our faith, more compassionate toward others, and more dependent on God's presence and power. In the midst of life's storms, it can often feel as though the challenges we face will never end and the darkness will never lift. However, one of the most powerful promises we have as believers is the assurance that every storm has an end and there is always hope beyond it. The storms of life are temporary, and God's ultimate plan for us is one of restoration, healing, and peace. In 1 Corinthians 4:17 and 18, the Apostle Paul writes, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." This passage reminds us that the difficulties we face are only temporary. and they are working in us a far greater purpose and eternal glory that will far outweigh our present suffering. This perspective gives us hope, knowing that no matter how intense the storm is, it is not permanent. Hope beyond the storm is also rooted in the promise of God's faithfulness. Psalm 35 declares, "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." This scripture reminds us that though we may experience pain and sorrow in the midst of trials, joy and peace are coming. The seasons of hardship are followed by seasons of restoration, where God's healing touch brings comfort, renewal, and strength. After the storm, we emerge stronger, more refined, and more equipped to face future challenges. Our trust in God deepens, and we gain a clearer vision of His love and power. Hope beyond the storm gives us the courage to endure, knowing that after the trial, there is a greater victory awaiting us, one that is marked by peace, joy, and fulfillment in God's promises. God bless you.